when you're, yeah.
All right, we are going.
All right. Yay. Okay, so welcome to Mindfulness with Mariel. Today we are doing a different thing on the podcast, and I have Tessa with me. And me and Tessa's story is really crazy of how we met and how we are now super connected and in this process together to help change the world with life-changing conversations, thanks to the founder of RRT, Jon Connelly. And so we're going today just to share what RRT is and also talk about how Tessa and I connected and our journeys before and going into the during and after and where we are now with it all, in hopes that our intention is for whoever's listening to find benefit of this and interest in making their internal mind body healing stronger, more powerful, feeling more clear and free in the mind and body. And so with that, Tessa, do you want to start off by sharing what RRT is in your lens?
Hi everyone. It's so nice to be on and be able to do this. So thank you, Marielle. So first off, RRT, it stands for Rapid Resolution Therapy, and it's just a very unique type of therapy that I have found has been really, really effective for resolving trauma and really so much more efficient and effective and direct than anything else that I've ever studied. So yeah, I'm just super excited to be involved with it. And yeah, I don't know, is that too broad, or is that like very
And I think that's the thing, because with RRT, it's like, it will feel simple, right, to the person experiencing it, that you know, RRT, rapid resolution therapy, just what it sounds. It's rapid, it's resolution, it's solution. Solution is something. It's not a band-aid. It's not, it's just a way of thinking that on the conscious and subconscious level gets it. And that's, I think, what can be missing from other types of therapy. I think even using the word therapy, I sometimes go, it's therapy on its head is the best way that I can explain it with all that I've understood about mental health. Now learning rapid resolution therapy, everything else just doesn't seem to fit with this way of living that has only brought me more clarity and freedom in my life and in others that I've been able to share this experience with. So yeah, it's really getting subconscious and conscious on the same page. And also the premise of that your mind is totally adequate and there's nothing wrong with it, but the way that the mind processor is interpreting data, which just blew my mind in the beginning of learning all of this. And once I was seeing results for myself, and I know Tessa can say the same as well, when we started seeing the incredible transformation and healing that we were seeing, so efficiently and so effectively, I think both of us were like, we got to learn this. One, to continue our healing, but two, to bring this to other people, which we'll explain here in a minute, where we've both come from and the lens of that led us here. But to be here and to be connected, and how me and Tessa have met and continued to heal ourselves and heal others has been so cool. And that's, again, why we're here, to share that intention that others can find this as useful, even just in our conversations, but also the resources that RRT can bring to you and to others in your life. So I guess we can start off so me and Tessa, yeah, we met by being on on the internet together in trainings, and I noticed her. It was a really crazy synchronicity where I noticed her. We both were pretty active and questioning and asking for some healing and some shifts in our own lives, and I was like, she seems cool. And usually I'm really bad with gauging ages of people, but I'm like, I think she might be around my age. I don't know. And I was like, huh. And I remember I tried searching for her and couldn't find her. And I was like, oh man. I'm like, all right, well, if it's meant to be, we'll connect in some capacity. But I feel like we both are really aligned with this work together and learning it and giving it to others. And so then randomly one day, I get a message in my Instagram inbox and Tessa found me. And I was like, oh my gosh, yay. Synchronicity. So that's the rest kind of was history, where we continued to, it was cool. We had this really neat partnership of learning it together and being kind of accountability buddies through it in our learnings, in our understandings, and that further, I think, our learning understanding to have each other the process. So with that being said, Tessa, if you want to share about what led you up to finding RRT and connecting to it so deeply.
Yeah, I think that is actually the best way for me to be able to articulate like what it is and what it means to me, is to describe a little bit of my backstory, which is that I started studying psychology when I was in high school. I was just super interested in it, and yeah, it's been my passion for a really long time to study mental health and to study psychology. And I found that it was enjoyable to be reading psychology textbooks and self-help books, and that I enjoyed the gathering of information, but I wasn't actually seeing much shifts and much results in terms of my own internal experience and actually feeling better. And that continued on until I was in my early 20s. And in my early 20s, I became interested in yoga and mindfulness and movement practices and awareness-based practices, and was like, oh, these things seem to be moving the needle in a way that reading every psychoanalysis book hadn't been. And so I was like, cool, I really felt like I had hit on something. And so I continued pursuing that sort of slowly through my mid-20s. And then I discovered that there was this field called somatic therapy. And I was like, wow, oh my God, this is what I've always been looking for. Like, this really bridges these mindfulness and movement-based practices using the body with my study of the mind and all of the theories and understandings that I had acquired through that lens. And it seemed to really bring it together. So I started graduate school studying somatic. Sorry, I think technically the name of my program was body psychotherapy. So very much informed by the psychoanalysis lens, but bringing in a lot of mind-body practices and whatnot to it. And yeah, I was all in. I was like fully immersed in this world of like, this is how to heal. This is the answer. I was doing my own therapy with a somatic therapist, like EMDR. And I was like learning a lot, and there was a lot of shifts that were occurring within me, but it was really intense and it was really emotional, and there was a lot of pain and discomfort involved. And I was like, I don't care, like I will do it. I am willing, like I have a high pain tolerance. Like if this is working, I'm all for it. Like I'm not scared of this. And so I was really just going hard in that direction. And it hit a point where those ways of thinking and those ways of approaching healing, it was creating quite a bit of chaos in my personal life, which again, I was like, if this is what I got to do, this is what I got to do. And but I hit up against this wall where I'm like, things don't seem to be changing. Like I know I'm feeling my feelings. I know I'm not shying away from discomfort. I know that I'm putting in the work. Like I was putting in so much effort and so much energy and so much self-reflection and so much journaling and so much meditation and just like all of the things. And yeah, I just kind of hit a wall. And then I came across the work of Dr. Jon Connelly through a podcast that a friend of mine sent me. And I'm listening to this man speak. And I'm like, holy shit, this makes sense. Like the way he's talking about stuff like this just like deeply is both like logical and speaks to my rational mind and my intelligence, and then also like something else, this like deeper sense of knowing. I was like, this makes sense to my irrational part and my rational part at the same time. And I had not come across someone who made that much sense in a really long time, because I was in this world where there was a lot of people who were saying stuff that like kind of made sense, but didn't fully make sense to me. And I was just like, all right, this is the nature of the beast. It's kind of crazy down here in the world of mental health. Um, and so I just started studying his work, everything that I could come across. And I found out that he was holding these Zoom calls that were open to the public. You had to like register and give your name and whatnot, but they were free. And so I went on, and on these calls, he was offering help. He was offering support to people who would just bring a question, bring a personal issue, and he was offering guidance. And that's where I met you, Mariel. I remember my first memory of you. I think I noticed like your hair, like all your curly hair. And your and like the color of your eyes. I remember those two things just really stood out to me. And yeah, your just enthusiasm for what was happening. And yeah, and so I saw all these people speaking to this man and seemingly like achieving transformations right before my eyes. And I was like, what the
Yeah.
hell is this? Like, I was like, what like, is this real? Like, what is going on? And I observed these calls for several weeks. I have the tendency to be pretty skeptical and to like sort of sit back and observe for quite a long time before I buy into something. And then one day I had run into something that was really bothering me, and I'd asked for help from all of my usual support, the places that I would go to receive support, and I was still upset about this thing. And so I got on one of these calls and put my hand up and had an interaction with Dr. Jon, addressing something that had come up for me. And it was resolved in like 5 or 10 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
I had been really upset about something, and it completely dissolved in a really short period of time. And I was like, whoa, holy shit. And that was when I'm sorry, I'm swearing. I don't know if
It's that real that it's you know, it's the real deal here. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
and so at that point in time, I was like, all right, I'm sold. Like, I've seen how this can impact my own mind. And I just love what you said about it being therapy on its head, because a lot of what I learned goes against some pretty entrenched ways of thinking that are just taken as fact, taken as standard truth within the mental health world. And I
Yeah.
realized upon reflection that a lot of these things I adopted through my studies over the years, but that they didn't help. Like, they didn't help me feel better. But it was just like a lot of theories and ways of thinking that that I bought into that weren't actually serving me. So
Yeah.
that's my long-winded
Yeah.
it's my
I
long-winded
love it. I
story.
love it. I think I feel many can relate to that. And yeah, in a healing journey, there's so many modalities out there. And you know, this is just an invitation. It's just a way of thinking that it may not feel useful to others, but for me and Tessa's experience have found extremely useful. And for many others, seeing their transformations right before our eyes, as well as seeing each other's, which we'll get into probably in future ones, being able to experience that with one another. Because yeah, we met each other in the, you know, in the processes of like, this is my stuff that I'm stuck on. And that was how the friendship was created. And seeing just that, yeah, we had, I mean, I didn't know any of that at that time when I felt connected to her. But we had similar journeys. And yeah, Tessa, you articulate that so beautifully, and that, you know, many things that you can do for yourself around movement and other healing modalities are so wonderful. They're really good. And sometimes that can even bring more turmoil to keep them going, and or to feel like I have to do all these things in order to be a-okay in the world and showing up. And for me, struggled a lot with it, had struggled with it with anxiety and things around that in my life, and would go to those things to feel comfort. So I was teaching in elementary school and realizing that kids' mental health was going down the drain, as well as my own. And from there led to doing more mindfulness practice for myself, and then incorporate it in the schools, and seeing that there was a really useful experience to bring those to the kids, but was not seen as something extremely on top of the priority list in schools around academia. So I continued to teach it in many different ways, and then grew my passion and my love for mindfulness, which I still to this day love mindfulness. I think it's really, really a helpful tool. And I think, again, with RRT has only increased that I can help myself and others in a deeper way, instead of just being okay with what is, understanding consciously and subconsciously what way of thinking can be useful to actually like live and thrive in your life versus survive in your life. I think a lot of things help you survive, but also kind of put up armor toward the world around you, and can make you kind of feel lonely or isolated in just your healing journey. Whereas this kind of frees up and opens the mind and opens the body into experiencing life in bigger and deeper ways, at least in my experience. And so yeah, led to me continuing to find something different, because at a point when I was in and out of therapies and seeing things kind of as band-aids at the time, and so grateful for the therapy that I had, because it kept me alive. And at the same time, there was a point where I was like, I don't know how many times I've talked about XYZ. Like every time I went to a new therapist, right? Like it was like, okay, and we talked about the things in the past, and I was like, there has to be a better way. And something that Jon shares, I love, is that if something doesn't make sense to you, it's probably because it doesn't make sense. And so I was like, yeah, like there was a point where like, I'm done talking about all my past stuff. I just want to like thrive in life and move through this. And I started to learn about things like manifestation and creating your own reality, things with Joe Dispenza, which I think is an incredible human as well. And that our minds, really, that's where everything starts. And so I was learning more about that. And then I'd heard someone that has a pretty big following and have created a life for herself, and shared this thing, RRT. And I was like, what is this? And she was implementing some things, and people were finding RRT transformations just from the little tidbit that she was sharing. So I looked it up one day, and the rest is just history, because I went and dove in. And yes, we will share the link that you can join. It's called Solutions, where you can hop on for free. You guys hop on for free and potentially get the shallow end of the pool, some shifts for you that he does from just literally the kind heart that he is. And you get to see others, and you watch others that are healing from things, and that you're also healing while you're watching. It's like our new Netflix. And it's an incredible process. And yeah, again, the rest is history, that I was seeing the transformation myself and others, and I was like, whoa, this is the most effective, efficient thing I have ever landed on, which I'm all about efficiency and effectiveness in how I teach mindfulness and meditation and all things for well-being and joy practices. So we are here now and experiencing this gift, and now really cool, fast forward, being able to share it with others. When you're learning it, you know, you're in the learning zone, and now me and Tessa are, you know, taking on the world and really helping other people see the gift of this. And so yeah, big shout out to Jon Connelly and all his work that he has done to, one, bring us together, because it's been one of the biggest gifts to connect with Tessa in this process, and two, to see the healing that can take place with, I want to reiterate, with little to no pain. I
Yeah.
think both of us have been in that place of just like, okay, feel all the feels and like let it take you over, and like, sit in the shit. And I like to think that it's from shit, we add the F in shit to shift. And it's not just for a short period of time, it's lasting. And yeah, and many people will hear us and probably think we're crazy, and that's okay. Because what we consider normal, also Jon will say, is that, the way that our minds are processing in this day and age, I mean, all the turmoil is quote unquote normal. That's what most of us are experiencing. And we like to step outside of the normal and help people as well. So that is that. Tessa, is there any final thing you want to add? Because I think we'll end it here for today, but curious to hear if people have found this useful and want to know more about the experiences that we've had and we've seen in other people, and how that's changed our life. We haven't really gotten so much into the transformations of our life, but we are more than happy to share that moving forward. But today we just kind of wanted to give an introduction of what RRT is in simple way, and about how we've gotten led to this path, which again, in both of our backgrounds, very similar, and seeing things that are useful. But also this is the most effective, efficient thing that we've come across. And why would we not want to share the abundance of this experience with others?
Yeah. Yeah. I would just add one more thing that I think is exactly what you just said, which is that I see it as a superior type of technology. So, some types of therapy, sorry, let me move on for a second. So like if you need surgery, if you need to like remove something that has gotten into your body and you need to surgically remove it, doctors would have been able to do that in whatever way that they had to do it. And then as the medical field evolved and became better at what it did, part of that process was having superior forms of oh my gosh, I can't do this. I can't do this story. Backing up. Okay, my point
There's so much. I know.
my point is that it does not have to be painful. Like this is a way of addressing mental health issues that doesn't require pain. And I see that as, yeah, we're just upgrading the technology that we have to shift the way that people think and the way that people feel. And I distinctly remember that I had this moment about a year ago when I was halfway through my graduate school program, and I realized that I was going to have clients coming to me, and I was like, how am I going to convince these people that the pain is worth it? That they're gonna feel worse before they feel better. Like, how do I tell them that it's, oh yeah, we're gonna talk about the worst things that ever happened to you and feel the worst feelings you've ever felt, but don't worry, on the other side of that, you're gonna receive healing. Like, how do I talk people into that? And I remember having this dilemma of like, how am I going to make this be so attractive that people would be willing to do that work? And now I'm realizing that that is not necessary. Like, yes, there is some discomfort in overcoming, trying something new, trying on a new way of thinking. But what I have learned and what I've experienced is that the like feeling worse before you feel better, it's just not necessary. That we can face discomfort and the like, going against our habitual ways of being, and we can receive shifts and transformations with a little bit of jitters but no pain. So that's
Absolutely. Yeah. I know. Me and Tessa like have all these like metaphors and stories that we could share, because it's completely a different way. It's a different way of thinking, of living, of being. And that, yeah, and it's funny now, like, I mean, wouldn't that sound great for someone to say, hey, you don't have to have pain, and that we can get this done pretty quickly and effectively. And I think now people are kind of, that's skeptical of that itself, just like how you saying that you were, as well. And it's like, it makes sense because most of the world and how you heal from things is quite the opposite of what we're doing here. So of course, some people would have skepticism of that until they actually gave it a try. So I'm
Mhm.
excited. Thank you, Tessa, for being here today. I'm excited to continue the conversation so people can see again how we've transformed and the things that we're learning along the way that we want to share with you all to help you have a better relationship with your mind and body. And the big takeaway is that your mind is just fine. It's working just fine. And then just the way there's stucknesses, and we call it glitches, glumps of things in there that have been like basically open tabs in a browser. And when you have a computer with a bunch of open tabs, right, it slows down the system, and that's what's happening. And we get to, practitioners get to go in there and clear some of those tabs for you, which again sounds very like, okay, but you don't know until you try. So well, I'm very grateful that me and Tessa did give it a try, and that we're here today to say that we have had incredible successes in this process. So maybe one day we'll even get Jon Connelly on here because he's an incredible human. And all the practitioners, or this community is incredible, which I can continue to talk about for days. But we will end it here for today. And if you have questions or comments, you can leave us. Well, I'll leave all the information of how you can connect with me and Tessa if you're wanting to give this way of thinking a try. We also will share about how you can join Solutions. It's an incredible free thing you can join and just see. You can even just watch or step in and get a little bit of the shallow end of the pool experiences with RRT. But we are here to help support you in your healing journey with little to no pain. Yay. And that we've been where you've been. So we get it, and we're here to help and be of use, that you are satisfied with this time and over time through this process. So yeah, I think that's it. I'm excited for more, and we'd love to hear from you guys about how this has left you. And again, thank you, Tessa, for joining. This was so fun, and just grateful for you and our connection. And yeah, we're gonna be healing the world one conversation at a time. So to many more heal conversations. Thanks, Tessa.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I look forward to the next time.
Too. All right, bye, you guys.